Alrighty, guys, welcome back. It's your boy EQ, and up next we have how Kendrick Lamar just proved it's really over for Drake. Shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop for the video. If you guys haven't heard, Kendrick Lamar announced his Grand National Tour with SZA that kicks off in April, which is honestly another huge milestone in this historic run that Kendrick has been having this year. So this is definitely a very big achievement. And one of those tour dates just happens to include Toronto, and probably the biggest boss move I've ever seen in a beef. The guy booked a tour date in Toronto for Father's Day weekend, which is hilarious given the fact that Kendrick Lamar has definitely questioned Drake's fathering skills. I may be reading too much into it, but with the way PG Lang and Kendrick Lamar has been moving this year and their double and triple entendres, everything they've been doing really has been done with some type of intention. So nothing is done just to do it. You know what I mean? There's a reasoning behind everything, including the composition in their videos. And while you may be able to stop lower level acts, man, you won't be able to stop somebody like Kendrick Lamar. The guy is A+ tier, and he's not doing these small theaters. Kendrick has already done arenas, and now he's progressed to stadiums, so this is definitely something that should be applauded. Kendrick and PG Lang have definitely put on a masterclass this year on keeping the conversation on yourself and keeping control of the momentum. But enough dilly-dallying, let's jump right into the video. Again, it's entitled How Kendrick Lamar Just Proved It's Really Over for Drake.
Now, just as it seemed like all Kendrick Lamar had to do was sit back for a while and let his album GNX do all the talking it needed as he holds off until whatever his next major move may be. Once again, when we were least expecting it, Kendrick has already come back out and continued his trend of only speaking when it is of the utmost importance, and now this time around.
It just makes these statements even more powerful when you're not making yourself so available, you know what I mean? Which is honestly the complete opposite strategy that Drake has been using this year.
Following his GNX album release, the Squabble Up music video, and all things considered, overall having one of the most dominant weeks in music history, Kendrick has somehow raised the stakes even more because really with what Lamar just did was join not just a list of rappers that there is less than a handful of, but when it comes to the entire music business right now. Kendrick Lamar has officially solidified himself as the biggest rapper on the planet by far and as one of the biggest musicians across the entire globe, period. And
Kendrick Lamar has definitely been having one of the hottest runs in music, period. And it definitely does not seem to be over. Like, these guys have been masters of keeping the momentum going in their favor. And honestly, we haven't even gotten to February, where the guy's going to be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show and also has a great chance of sweeping the Grammys. So his run is nowhere near over, guys. And that's just if, honestly, things just stay relatively the same. If the guy does go and drop this project that everyone's waiting for, and it is this like conceptual masterpiece, it's going to solidify this legendary run even further, which is saying a lot because the dude has already hit so many milestones. Man, this run definitely goes beyond hip hop. This is something that has definitely even grabbed the eyes of the casuals. The people that don't usually talk about rap were talking about rap when this was going on and continue to do so.
All of this is because, kicking off in April 2025 and ending in June, Kendrick Lamar is going to be going outside and giving us an experience that, just in terms of the scale he is bringing hip-hop to, will be the most ambitious live experience he has ever with his Grand National Tour.
This is a stadium tour.
Before we get any further into how historic this all really is and how all of this success is speeding up the real end of Drake's career, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. And so now with what Kendrick Lamar is doing by going on an entire stadium tour, when you break this down, he is joining in on a lineage of only 2 other rappers in rap's 50+ year history.
If I were to guess, I'd probably choose between like 3 people, M, Kanye, and Jay. Because if I'm not mistaken, Jay-Z went on tour with Beyonce. And also Eminem has that mainstream appeal that I most definitely feel like would sell out a stadium. But I do feel like most of these stadium tours are usually co-headlined by at least a few artists. Because now we're not talking about 10, 20,000 people. We're talking about 80,000 people in one venue
who have successfully hit the road for entire full-length tours, which when it comes to this company, just to put where Kendrick is at into perspective, the club he is joining only features Eminem, who went on a joint tour with Rihanna, and Jay-Z, who did multiple joint tours with both Justin Timberlake and then Beyonce twice. And so with this Kendrick Lamar tour, following him in this trend, who is joining him here is none other than Top Dawg.
I am surprised Ye hasn't done it. Obviously, Kanye has done spot dates, but that's not obviously doing a full tour.
Entertainment's very own SZA, which in of itself, and compared to so many other joint tours that we have seen in general, is just such a natural pairing. And seeing these two who have known each other and have collaborated on music for over
so
a
much
decade
love for
at
each
this
other.
point, now playing the biggest venues they can on the continent is such a great moment for TDE, hip-hop, and R&B. And now with this Kendrick Lamar tour, all things
And honestly, I do feel like that's such an amazing moment. I can only imagine when they sit down and reflect what they're setting out to accomplish and look at where they came from. I'm pretty sure they're feeling all the blessings because these are moments you dream of when you're like dreaming of becoming an artist. Headlining a stadium tour, guys, this is real rock star level stuff.
Considered, while it's still very far away, and so much can happen leading up to when this series of some of the most anticipated performances in decades kick off. What's already clear is that on so many levels, Kendrick Lamar taking hip-hop to stadiums is really bringing the entire genre to a new stratosphere, and now as we are living in an era where because of everything Kendrick has pulled off, and because of all of his dominance and the way he just naturally resonates with actual people and not algorithms, after hip-hop was
most
on a
definitely.
decline commercially, he has now even won over the actual business of rap and the industry over Drake. And with a moment like this, we are seeing why, as he is just taking hip-hop to places that Drake's lazy and complacent self could never, especially with the way he was going.
Well, I mean, instead of doing a stadium tour, what he would do, he would just do like 6 straight shows at an arena, like a Madison Square Garden, which is dope, but it's definitely no stadium. Packing out 70, 80,000 people, it's just another level, man. And honestly, I'm excited to see the production of these shows because they have done so well up to this point with their shows. So now with their resources only expanding further, like fam, I can't wait to see what they do at a venue like Cowboy Stadium. It's going to be pure pandemonium.
Well, when it comes to Drake and the OVO community, while they are trying to knock Kendrick for having to go on tour with SZA in this historic moment, first off, when you look at the
Most of these tours are co-headline. Drake's last tour, which was not only his highest grossing tour ever, but in rap period, also featured J. Cole and 21 Savage. So you can't really push that narrative when everyone else is co-headlining tours as well. It's definitely something that has always been the norm. I mean, Meg Thee Stallion just got off her tour. She had 4 or 5 other MCs, so you can't really target Kendrick with that when that's usually the game plan.
fact that from every single Drake tour since the mid-2010s, from
Him
going
and
on tour
Future.
with Lil Wayne, then Future, then
Yeah.
Migos, then 21 Savage, then J. Cole, and then Lil Wayne again,
It's the
with
same.
also an ever-changing list of rappers, every concert experience Drake has done now for over a decade hasn't just been a joint tour, but he has been running with another act for his arena tours, which again, when it comes to touring stadiums, they are about 3 to 4 times the size of any arena, period. So when you break down that Drake literally just went on a tour with J. Cole to sell out venues that fill about 20,000 people, to then seeing that Kendrick is going on tour with SZA to fill up venues that fit 60, 70, or maybe even 80,000 people. No matter what narrative Drake, his camp, and his fans try to push. And especially after this time where Drake has been accused.
Well, if this beef has taught us anything, is that a Drake stan will definitely go beyond delusion to try to cope. So it definitely does not surprise me that they're calling out Kendrick for bringing SZA on there, but they fail to realize this is the norm. And as we just saw, Drake has used 3 other top rappers on a single tour, so that argument is definitely null and void.
Accusing Kendrick Lamar and Not Like Us of being a track that didn't have actual hype and it was all manufactured and boosted with algorithms. The fact that now Kendrick
Erroneous.
is playing venues on this continent that are up to 4 times bigger than Drake has ever, which of course includes times where many people would call him the biggest artist on the planet, just speaks volumes to whose music and success is really organic and who may have had a spectacle and career that in certain ways wasn't actually as big as it seemed. And now aside from this Kendrick.
Well, doesn't that strengthen the argument that Drake has allegedly benefited from having those bots and those streaming farms in his corner more valid than people trying to call out Kendrick? While you can fake streams, it's really hard, if not impossible, to fake the cultural impact something has. So if you start seeing all these people connect to this record, if you start seeing HBCUs playing this at homecoming, if you start seeing regular random casual people referencing Not Like Us lyrics, and now we have people screaming mustard at the top of their lungs, man, it's definitely something you can't fake. You can't fake what he did at that pop-out show where you could literally feel the electricity in the arena and say that was botted. For me, that's master level coping.
Stadium tour being a turning point in hip-hop, as just like with something like the Super Bowl, Kendrick is showing the entire world just how much further he can push rap forward as an entire medium than Drake. The most telling part about how dominant Kendrick Lamar is over everyone right now, and how this moment is marking the end for Drake, is Kendrick's show on June 12th, which is right before Father's Day, keep in mind,
Exactly.
which just makes things a little funnier in of itself. But why this is actually so significant is because Kendrick is marching right into Drake's city and playing in the biggest arena he possibly could, which is just the ultimate power move and is really telling Drake.
Yeah, I want to say that's where the Blue Jays play. But yeah, man, that's like the ultimate chess move.
That he has nowhere left to run. And making this even crazier, the team that plays in this venue is none other than the Toronto Blue Jays, and they are hyping up
He's used
Kendrick
it in
Lamar
the
and his arrival
he's used it
themselves.
in the
And so
cover
now
art as
between
well.
the fact that Kendrick is doing this and that some of the sports franchises and Drake's own city are embracing and seemingly excited for it, and then also knowing that despite how big and important Drake claims to be to his city, that he has never even been able to play in this venue. Again, this is all just very telling about the moment we are witnessing, and now as the OVO community is in absolute shambles because of this, as they are now almost losing every single thing that they used to claim Drake was better than Kendrick Lamar because people who are still delusional and think that Drake has this master plan and that he's going to make this grand comeback think that Drake has the chance to do what he did to Kendrick's lifelong friend and fellow TDE member Schoolboy Q when he came to Toronto to play at the venue.
But like I said earlier, while I do love Schoolboy Q, he was pulling up to Toronto to perform in a theater that had a partnership with Drake. So that's a different story. Kendrick Lamar is headlining Rogers Stadium. So the money that he's about to bring into that city, they're probably looking at that date and salivating because at the end of the day, it's definitely going to be a boost to their local economy.
History,
which stop was Schoolboy Q, you can't stop Kendrick
down and pretty much kick Schoolboy out of the city. And now while Drake was definitely responsible for this moment, it's important to note that this venue isn't just smaller, but that he is also a part owner of it, which also means that he lost money from canceling Schoolboy's show, which again just makes everything even funnier because even when it seems like
and if I'm not mistaken, I looked into this. It's almost like when one of these sports teams go out and give like a legendary sports star like a 1% stake in the team because it brings a lot of cachet to the team, in this case to the theater.
Drake wins, he actually loses. But now with this show and moment that Kendrick Lamar is going to make, it's
going to be
important
epic.
To remember that between the scale of this show and everything that goes into it, and also that the franchise that uses this venue doesn't even seem to be on good terms with Drake like the Toronto Raptors are, for example. This show
he's an ambassador for the Raptors
for Drake, and he is going to be able to do nothing to stop it. And with a team that's a foundation of your city like the Blue Jays just fully supporting and embracing Kendrick, which really,
if I were to give any advice to Drake, it's to not be in the city on that date.
To have such a major entity in the place you are from just go against, you must say more about Drake than anything else at this point, is really just the ultimate turning point, as now Drake's own city can't even protect him from Kendrick Lamar. And when we look even further than this, while right now it's
that's
hard
been the
to
case
say,
for a while,
in the grand
though.
picture of everything we are seeing and with this entire tour, it's really going to shake hip-hop and music to its core. And as Drake is not just running out of his country, but the continent for his Anita Max tour, which really just seeing Drake live at this point is like seeing somebody who is just beyond washed struggle to do the thing they were once known for. But now as Drake has not done one real live performance in his city since the beef, which considering the nature of what Kendrick Lamar has been doing all throughout this year and what the pop-out meant for where he's from, you would think that Drake wouldn't let his rival take over a city and that he'd try to just help his image and take back his roots on a scale where everyone would see that he really has done.
This decision is definitely way above his pay grade, no matter how beloved he thinks he is in that city.
Something for the place he is from. But instead, unless it's something as ridiculous as Wagwan Delilah, Drake has done nothing to tap in and help his city's music scene and culture. And really, just the symbolism of this is really telling the entire story itself. As really, Drake is running from the place he should be leaning into with his next tour, all while Kendrick Lamar is going to be packing it up with some of the biggest crowds any musician who has ever entered the place has ever been able to amass. And I mean, you don't need me to tell you this, but this is just not a good look for Drake, and if Drake keeps slipping down the slope he's on, which at this point is really going to have him out of a job in no time, because soon even his fans and city are going to fully abandon him. And
guys, I've been making content since like April of this year, and I can tell you from like just like the comments I've seen from people that live over in Toronto and Canada, it's not a monolith. There's definitely a lot of people that do not mess with Drake because they believe he really doesn't do much for the city. So if your own people have already been feeling like this for some time now, the influence has already been slipping.
At this point, if Kendrick just keeps leveling up and pushing what a hip-hop experience even means in the era we are living in, as from concerts, albums, to the biggest performance an artist can ever have in the Super Bowl, Kendrick is only going to continue to become a bigger and bigger force. And really, with everything he has given us in this era as it's already next level, it seems like this is going to be the only way he goes. So as time continues, overall with where we are headed, Kendrick Lamar really has the chance to do something in a rap beef that nobody ever has, which is to flip somebody's home city against them. And now after Drake instigated this beef to new levels when he said something like "get more love in the city that you from," which was referring to Kendrick and LA on push-ups, and then also remembering that he said SZA got you wiped down on that track as well. And now Kendrick is about to do a joint tour with her and do a show where he can literally get more love than Drake ever had.
Well, obviously, that was a colossal misstep in strategy. While Drake has had a friendship with SZA for some time now, and even dated for a bit when SZA was like 19, which is obviously not going to help some of these allegations that he's been incurring. But her and Kendrick were longtime label mates. So yeah, man, her allegiance was always going to be to Kendrick, as was YG to Kendrick as well. So yeah, that was just another miscalculation on Drake's part.
As in his own city in terms of the amount of people he can bring together all to celebrate somebody's music. All in all, Kendrick is showing how even after winning, he is just not giving Drake any chance to spin the narratives he wants to or to change the perception of all the real accomplishments.
They're controlling the momentum.
And really, in this time where Drake is running away from his city to tour across the globe, and even with J. Cole, who despite having a 2014 Forest Hills Drive anniversary show coming up that has a lot of hype and anticipation, is an event that's building its hype because it's reminiscing on the past. Overall, while the other two members
it's definitely nostalgia.
Of the big three who said they were once as big as the Super Bowl are relying on the past, Kendrick Lamar is moving forward in his career and expanding not just his platform, but hip-hop as a whole to new levels, as he is joining only 2 other MCs to go on full-fledged stadium tours. And if this is where we are at, and now the bar for what Kendrick Lamar's 2025 is going to lead up to will be an entire stadium tour over everything else he is already going to do, well, between the Super Bowl, this, and an album that is still on the way, somehow, even after everything Kendrick Lamar has done in 2024, he has a chance to have an even better 2025 that will create even more historic moments than the ones we have already seen. And now if this tour just does half of what it's supposed to, it's gonna raise the bar for every single person creating hip-hop music right now, and with all of this happening right alongside the downfall and collapse of Drake and every single thing he has ever done and stood for, this shift in hip-hop is only picking up and its impact is only gonna be greater than we could have ever thought. Now with all this said, let me know, are you excited for Kendrick Lamar's upcoming?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited for this new era of Kendrick. While he's always been one of the premier acts, his stock has definitely risen. His platform has only gotten bigger, and this run definitely has no signs of slowing down. Like I said, in February, the guy's going to headline the Super Bowl halftime show and more than likely take at least 5 out of the 7 Grammy nominations that he has. And then 2 months later, he embarks on his stadium tour. Yeah, man, it's going to be crazy. And I'm pretty sure once they finish the stadium tour, we're going to get some type of documentary on it, which is going to be awesome. And this is just if things stay the same. If the guy goes and drops another classic album, can you only imagine how all this really amps up? But yeah, I'm definitely super excited. I think it's hilarious that Kendrick Lamar and his team chose Father's Day weekend for their show in Toronto. Knowing how they kind of operate, I would tend to believe that that has various meanings. Obviously, the fact that he was questioning Drake's fathering skills, but it could also be another metaphor for Drake, I am your pops, fam. Kendrick has been on a historical run this year, and it seems that in 2025, the legend is only going to grow. This one is definitely not ending anytime soon. And honestly, the way they've been really able to control the narrative and keep this momentum for so long, at this point, we can't really doubt any move they're making. It seems like Kendrick Lamar and his team definitely have the Midas touch right now. But definitely let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about this tour announcement? Also, what do you guys think about him scheduling the Toronto date for Father's Day weekend? That's elite level trolling. And obviously some thought went into that, man. Just another dope chess move from a series of very dope moves, man. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. It does the channel wonders. I honestly want to thank you guys so much. This past month, the channel has had exponential growth, and honestly, it's all because of you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for making this channel a part of your day. I'm truly grateful, and honestly, you guys show love to the channel on a daily basis. So I really want to thank you guys. The support has been amazing, and honestly, it's been a huge motivation to me making this content. I'm definitely looking forward for your thoughts on this situation, because like I always say, the dialogues in the comments are always amazing, and another big reason why I make these videos, the conversations are always dope. So I hope you guys love this video, and I hope to see you guys soon. Damn, bro. Kendrick's son Drake again. Drake, for your own sanity, don't be there that weekend, fam.